Richmond is known as the home of Earl Hebner? Tonight, Earl will have his first wrestling match. And I'm definitely like, okay, how the hell is The Rock going to get out of this one? Because it's 3 members of DX versus The Rock and a non-wrestler. So it's essentially a 3-on-1 handicap match. Really kind of like a 4-on-1 because he also has to worry about Earl not getting pinned.
It's worse. It's worse. It's harder.
We're in Earl Hebner's hometown. It's Tales from the Attitude Era. Rob here. As always, it's Rob from thestunner.com, your wrestling media website. And I'm here with former WWE writer during this era, Tommy Blacha. Welcome, Tommy.
Hello. We're not in Earl Hebner's hometown. The Smackdown is.
That's true. I'm not in Richmond.
Less we misrepresent ourselves. Yes,
that's fair.
Home of the Flying Squirrels.
Oh,
baseball team. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Very nice. And we're at the Richmond Coliseum. Well, the Smackdown that we're watching it's the Smackdown from May 4th in the year 2000. So we're right past the Raw after Backlash. We're still on this pay-per-view loop. You got to be pretty exhausted on this Smackdown.
As always, but we're on the East Coast. Wasn't so bad. I do remember it being like, and I like that there's, like I said, it's always fun when there's a theme, and the theme kind of was like, we're in Earl Hebner's hometown. So it's like, okay, so you're working towards that kind of madness. And I'll have to say, I owe Richmond an apology because I called it a shithole.
Oh,
because the arena back in the day and whatever. But recently, I had a chance to my wife was working there and I stayed there for a few weeks and I found it to be a cool town. And you recommended a cool restaurant there. It's also the home of Guar, and I hung out there and I liked it quite a lot,
Yeah, great breakfast. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I really like Richmond. It's nice. It's like it's a developing city and it's still relatively cheap. So
and it's wrong with that. And it's historically significant and weird and controversial in its historical significance, but not really when you're there. So it's cool.
But I mean, there's a whole avenue with racist Confederate statues, though, that are still proudly displayed in like a hipster neighborhood, which is nice.
There's also churches everywhere with someone being crucified. And
you know how I feel about churches,
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I wanted to mention all this talk about ratings and such. Our last episode, we reviewed the Raw with the Shane McMahon and the Rock's steel cage match. And it was, in fact, that segment was one of the highest rated segments of all time in the history of pro wrestling on television. Rock versus Shane. This is from the Wrestling Observer I was reading. Rock versus Shane McMahon drew an 8.23 final quarter, which drew to a 9.1 rating and a 16.2 share for the overrun. I mean, 16% of the country was watching that main event. Allegedly.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Well, not allegedly, technically, I would say, according to the stats. And the 8.11 second hour rating was the second highest rating in history, trailing only a May 1999 episode, which did an 8.42. And the overall rating for the show, 7.15, was the 5th highest cable rating. Oh, I'm sorry. This is for the week prior. Was the 5th highest cable rating for pro wrestling in history.
Yeah.
The 4 highest ratings in order was the War to Settle the Score with Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper on MTV in 1980 or in 85. That was a 9.1. The Brawl to End It All, the previous event in 1984, with Cyndi Lauper versus Fabulous Moolah, which did a 9.0. At the January 1988 Royal Rumble debut on the USA Network, did an 8.2. And a May 10th, 1999 episode of Raw, which did an 8.09. So now, of the modern era, this is the second highest rated episode of the show.
Crazy.
Pretty nice.
Well, yeah, you always got to look at other factors too, because sometimes there's it's not always just oh, that's the funny thing about ratings. What did we do on that show? oh, do more of that. And that's always like TV in general and movies, whatever, ratings chasing. Well, part of it is, let's see, it's May. So baseball's just starting. There's no like, a lot of times like we had great things, but like, oh, you're going up against Monday Night Football. Oh, there's, something else. There's just sometimes it has to be a perfect storm of things to create that.
And typically, you could also look at like with May being sweeps. This was April 24th, the last weekend of April. Most likely, most broadcast shows were in repeats.
Right.
So you didn't have that competition.
There's that, which doesn't mean anything now, but did mean it then. And WCW was really like, so that whole
they're in the
that
twos,
was a factor too. Yeah. So all those things contributing, but nonetheless, astonishing numbers. But there's always a little bit behind it, and sometimes it becomes so repeat. Was it that match? What was it like? Well, a lot of factors, but
ultimately, I think what it says and what you cannot deny is this main event angle right now with The Rock positioned in the Steve Austin role is absolutely working. The crowd is into it. I mean, there's no denying it. Like listen to the crowds on the shows. And also Triple H is working as the top heel, I think. And obviously being helped by Vince McMahon being there as his a second, or sometimes I feel like Vince McMahon is the first and Triple H is the second, like.
Sure, especially on the mic. Definitely. And that's why the design of this show was like, well, let's just have The Rock have 2 comebacks. You know what I mean? It'll be like, he'll win and then he'll get beaten down and he'll come back again. You know what I mean? Like,
that was really,
and it worked.
The main event ended with like 8 minutes left in the show. And I was like, what? Are they going to book another match? Like I was looking at the time, as the match was ending, and I couldn't get it, but then it just turned into the best house show ever. And we'll get to it. I think overall, this is a very fun episode. This was kind of in a way, it's like a bottle episode because you didn't really start too many new storylines. You didn't advance too many storylines, but on its own, it was very, very fun. And like we've talked about the last few weeks, right now is maybe the strongest mid-card in WWE history up to this point. So you could just throw matches out and give them 10 minutes to fill up time. And the filling up time is incredible wrestling.
Yeah. And also you realize when you have a pay-per-view cycle, you got Sunday, you got your pay-per-view, Monday, you got your Raw, Tuesday. Sometimes it's not like, let's start new things. It's just like, let's just entertain people and, get back and reset, that was there. So that's why some of these are like, it doesn't mean like they don't bring it. Doesn't mean there's not the more of the complications in like, okay, what's the ending? You got 15 minutes, do it, but not, any kind of like you said, introducing new storylines or things like that.
Right. And with a typical week, you have all week to come up with Monday and Tuesday show, but in a pay-per-view week, you're spending that whole week now just focused on the pay-per-view. So these shows kind of get like, there's no time for details, right? Like you mentioned last week, but it's just like, just go, just do it.
Yeah. Which, and sometimes it's like that in football or something. You always notice like, oh my God, there's some kind of injury. This guy, he hasn't been here that long. Let's just simplify things for the quarterback. And oh my God, it was great. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like that too. It's like, let's not like overthink it and just let's just, book things. And if everyone's on their game, it's the same thing. Like sometimes it's not always about the booking or the writing quite a lot. It's like, oh, why was that show so hot? Like everyone was just on their shit, it just like, was amazing. Everyone was up to par and it just bled into each other. Other things you think you have everything done and like, oh, this lagged and oh, that was a weird match. Oh, so-and-so kind of hurt that, it's like, wow, why was everything so, it's like that with sports a lot too. Like, why was the team flat? I don't know. They just were flat or they were on it. So
yeah. And you kicked it off hot. I liked again, you kicked it off with a match, which I'm enjoying the switching up of the format a little bit. And even the promo from Vince after was in and out. You weren't, it wasn't a 20-minute promo. It was like a 5-minute, just setting up the main event. So the show starts a bit surprisingly. Earl Hebner gets his own entrance, no music, but he gets a full entrance. He gets announced by the announcer, Tony Chimmel. And we learn that he is Richmond's own Earl Hebner. He's in the hometown. And this is during the era where Vince just had a real hard on for making the hometown person look like ass.
Yeah.
Whether it be Earl or like Jim Ross when you're in Oklahoma or whatever. But I do think, joking aside, I think it was very effective. The whole story arc throughout the show. I was like, why is Earl Hebner getting his own entrance? That was my question as I started the show. By the end of the show, I had my answer.
Yeah. And so I love that about wrestling in Vince is like sometimes like you don't answer the question like Earl Hebner. What's Earl Hebner's Q rating? Do people care about Earl Hebner?
Yeah.
What has he done? It's like, no, it's like, we're doing this. He's a, behind the scenes guy. This is his hometown. We're doing it. And then people kind of like feel that. And then they come along with it. We don't have to like get all sweaty and answer shit like that. It's like, yeah, he was like, and to me, for the wrestling fan, it's like, holy shit, when they had the twin brother gimmick from years ago, that was like, oh, that was insane. And, and like you make him an integral part of it, and he has that tradition, and you service it correctly. Like, no, he's been here forever. This is, Earl Hebner's hometown. We're going to make a big deal out of it. So it's like, oh, great. It's something to write to.
Absolutely. And like you said, he has 15 years of goodwill with longtime WWE fans. So you don't have to do much to establish him here. And so he's refereeing Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit, the Intercontinental title on the line. We see footage from the match at the pay-per-view, and we do see actual video footage now brought to you by WWF Home Video. By Thursday, all the replays have aired on pay-per-view, so they could now show the footage again and tease that you could buy it in like 3 or 4 weeks. Very interesting, the business model at the time. And what I have here is actual wrestling in caps lock. Like, wow, they're really having a match and like great exchanges. They're both going for their submission finishers with the walls of Jericho and the crippler crossface. Benoit somehow gets busted open the hard way, it looks like, on one of these headbutts. So Jericho rolls to the outside. Benoit tries to go outside after him. The referee, Earl Hebner, stops him. They get into an argument. Benoit shoves Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner, he's not taking no sass no more. So he shoves Chris Benoit back. Here's the problem, Earl. Chris Benoit is 5 times as big as you. So now Benoit gives him like a real shove, knocks him out of the ring. And at this point, this gives Jericho the opportunity to sneak in the ring with the Intercontinental title, give Benoit a belt shot, get the lion salt, and then Earl slowly climbs in and counts the quick 3, doesn't DQ Benoit for shoving him, and we have a new Intercontinental champion. I like that this essentially kind of plays into the show-long storyline, which is that Earl isn't taking any shit, but also might be overstepping his authority a little bit.
Yeah, well, I love it because you can talk it through every angle. Like, is he overstepping his authority? Well, he let them, he didn't disqualify Benoit, but he did push him first. So, there's something good about a ref, like they say in sports, like, oh, they're letting them play out there. They're not, they're not calling too many penalties. You hear that a lot, and there's kind of something to that. Like, oh, well, Benoit could have just been disqualified. Let him, what do you mean? Let him go after it. So, but at the same time, it's like he did kind of like count Jericho, like he should have disqualified him. He didn't see that. I like it. It's Earl Hebner's night. Put him right in the middle of some controversy, where everyone at the end could be pissed off and have their angle about it. So, good piece of business.
Absolutely. No, I thought this was good. This was of the non-clean finishes. This was fun. And the crowd was very surprised to see a title change. And
that's another thing, being a clean finish smart mark. When there's a title change, that's big. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, someone got out of this. Oh, that was cheap. They had a funky ending because they didn't know what to do. This was a definitive title change, so that kind of makes a non-clean finish title change is always pretty intriguing and controversial and fun. So
yeah, I was
piece of business.
I was surprised. I did not expect Benoit to lose this quickly. It's kind of been going back and forth between the two of them. I guess you could say since WrestleMania, since Kurt Angle passed it along. But I could watch these guys feud forever. I don't mind. Like even my clean finish smart mark radar is down for these two because they work so well.
Yeah, I always pitch the program sometimes, and these two could have fit into that. And because I think of way back in the day, there was like long programs like Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine. You almost didn't, and I saw them as a kid live a couple times. You almost didn't care who had the title. You just kind of like, I always pitch thing like there should be two guys that lose the title back and forth to each other almost constantly for a long time because they're so equally matched, and
there is something to that. And they say that like too many title changes devalues the title is the typical word about championships. But in a scenario like you painted, I think that would elevate the title and make it it would make it more exciting.
Yes. My thoughts exactly.
Because it goes against the grain, but it's not hot-shotting it. It's just these guys are so good that it's really just half a second or 3 seconds of chance that could make the difference between the two of them. One mistake and it's
Celtics, Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Lakers. How many great rivalries through the years where they've traded championships back and forth because they're that good.
Yeah. So these guys work great, always fun, and this is great. And I think Jericho is starting to really gain some momentum. He kind of, you had that little moment where he won the title and had to give it back. And then you sort of, with the pay-per-view right around the corner, kind of forgot about it. But now that he got past the pay-per-view, he's being slot back into that main event position. And also, The Rock kind of needs friends. So it's all working out for Jericho, I think. You could see why he doesn't want to quit anymore. Backstage, the McMahon-Helmsley regime arrives. And after the break, they come out. They're just on stage. They don't get to the ring. And Vince McMahon is just in pure heel mode. Very, very great promo. He says, "So great to be here in Richmond, the capital of the Confederacy, the home of Patrick Henry, where he gave his speech, 'Give me liberty or give me death.' There's a chant for The Rock. 'You're interrupting my speech.'" And then he goes back. "More recently, Richmond had been known for its corrupt city council. And Richmond is known as the home of Earl Hebner?" Even Vince is confused. He says, "Tonight, Earl will have his first wrestling match. You disobey, you've breached your contract, so not only will you be fired, you'll stay fired." I like this little wrinkle that Linda hired him back, so Vince can't just fire him, but he can kind of walk him into breaching his contract. Then the board has to fire him or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's nice. It makes you as a viewer not be like, why can't Vince just fire him?
Right.
There's an asshole chant, and of course Vince goes, "Don't refer to Earl like that." "Earl, you will have a partner. It'll be The Rock. And you'll be facing X-Pac, Road Dogg, and Triple H. And it'll be for the world title. If The Rock gets pinned, he loses the title. If Earl gets pinned, The Rock loses the championship. Tonight, we will crown a new world champion and history will be made." So you really stack the deck against The Rock. Kind of another take on the angle you did on the Monday show, but with elevated stakes, I would say.
Yeah.
Because with Earl, now The Rock has to take care of Earl and make sure that Earl doesn't lose the match for him. And it punishes Earl for interrupting the McMahon plan on Monday. So it all works out. This is great continual booking.
And also it's like, oh, how are they going to get out of this one?
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely. I definitely thought that. And I feel like you are also riding a fine line here with like, how many times can you do how are they going to get out of this one story? Like, you can't do this every episode until Judgment Day. It's going to get repetitive.
Right. And that's why the wrinkle of Earl makes it so good, because it's like, yeah, handicap match. Okay, this, but oh wow, non-wrestler. Oh, but and also not just inserted. This is culminating in his story of weeks,
Yeah,
he's involved, and he's a so it all, yeah, this one works.
This was great. And we get the first promo for Judgment Day with the line, Judgment Day is coming. It's so good. It's so subtle, because you just think, oh, this is a promo for a pay-per-view. But in fact, these are vignettes for a return. And I'm not gonna spoil who it is.
Nice.
But we for those of you that know, but it's very fun to watch these back. We have Eddie and Chyna against Essa, Rios, and Lita. Essa, at the beginning of the match, grabs the roses from Chyna and gives them to Lita. Eddie will not stand for this. He attacks Essa. At one point, Chyna and Essa are in the ring, and they exchange moves, and Chyna holds her own. Both of them clothesline each other, leading to the hot tag to Lita. And so it's Lita and Chyna in the ring. Lita goes to the top rope. Chyna crotches her, grabs her into a huge powerbomb. It looked brutal. Then she picks Lita up into a press slam, just throws her on her face. That's all. Turns her over, pins her with one leg. Dominant victory. It shows that Chyna is one step above all the women in WWE. And it looks like this is the end of this feud. This is a pretty conclusive end to this storyline.
And it was good, because on paper, sometimes you're looking like this again, but then it's like, oh, but we never had this part of that feud.
Yeah.
Or what have you.
You never had the intergender match. So, yeah, last week you had the same match, but it was Val Venus in the ring with Eddie Guerrero as opposed to Chyna.
Right.
I think this worked much better. Kurt Angle is back. We learned that he was at the Gladiator premiere on Monday. That's why he wasn't on Raw. He has a great promo. He says, I have no problem with my opponent, Hardcore Holly. But when I think of hardcore, I think of pornography. The people cheer. You people are sick. There are children here. He says Virginia's catchphrase is Virginia is for lovers. The phrase should be Virginia is for lovers, as long as they're not from the same family. Boom.
Yeah.
Big heat, big heat. Then Hardcore Holly comes out. He gets a little mic time. He says, I don't care about your philosophy. Virginia may be for lovers, but it ain't a place for a 30-year-old virgin who's about to get his ass kicked. And then he runs in the ring and the match starts, and Lawler, not missing a beat, says, well, I know for a fact that Kurt Angle is not 30. I busted out laughing. He really got me there. Lawler in 2000 it's been very refreshing to watch, because towards the end of his run, I was like, was he ever good? and it was like, no, he was. So this was a good match. Easy peasy. Brian Hebner is the ref, Earl Hebner's son. I don't think he's acknowledged as Earl Hebner's son, but you continue the storyline of the refs pushing back. Holly gets into an argument with the ref, and Hebner shoves Holly right into Angle, who catches him in a German suplex and gets the win. And after the match, Holly attacks Angle with a chair to get his heat back. I feel this was like a big thing in 2000. Like, nobody wanted to take a clean loss. And if you're getting a clean loss, you immediately want to attack the person to look tough.
Yeah. And also, it's depending on the participants, obviously. So it's, and Kurt Angle and Bob Holly, mutual respect. And it's just known, like, yeah, that's the business. Like, Holly's got to he can't just like in a house show, just like eat the pin and roll out and walk away,
Now you can. But
yeah.
Back then, it did not seem allowable.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to do it, and also, Kurt Angle was amazing. He was he's kind of, even though that's again what always makes him so great to me. He's super accomplished, as much as anyone ever was, as far as his, a gold medalist in the Olympics, and he's the cowardly heel also, you know what I mean? So, it's like, and he's goofy and he's funny and he's got heat. It's kind of spectacular. He's in baseball, they call it a 5-tool player. Got everything.
You have the tease for after the break, and the tease is a extreme close-up on Rikishi's butt. So we have Rikishi up next. He's taking on Edge and Christian in a handicap match. Edge and Christian have a little mic time before the match, and they reveal that, I must have missed it. Earlier in the show, Edge and Christian were getting facials.
Right.
And they said that I need every inch of ass off my face. We lost the cover of Tiger Beat because of this, because they got stink-faced on Monday. So they want revenge against Rikishi for the stink face. So now we're back to present time, and they're in the ring, and they say
Tiger
their faces.
That dates everything. Just that, like at that point, and still like with Chyna, like magazine covers. So
I don't even think Tiger Pete existed in '99. Like I think even then it was a dated reference.
It was a dated reference. I think it was from its popularity being, years earlier, like Leif Cassidy and people like that have to be
right.
Or Leif Garrett. Leif Cassidy was an Al Snow gimmick. Right. Leif Garrett. But I think it was still around, but like its relevance was going, who quickly was like, oh, everything's got to be online and like magazines. You know what I mean? Still remember like, oh, I'm at the airport. I got to get on a plane and get a magazine now. Like, why? Yeah, how fun.
And so they're asked, you will ruin the day. You ever tried to tarnish the faces of these fans, the faces that these fans love? Is what bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
They have a match. It's very, very clever how they did it, because it was a very believable handicap match. Like the staging of it was good. That like Rikishi still looked strong, but then the numbers got the best of him, but then he still fought it off. It was really fun. And they kept trying to tease the stink face, and then they would fight out of it,
Right.
And then they end up on the outside for a brief moment. Rikishi disarms Edge and Christian, and they're still on the outside. And just as he rolls in the ring, the ref counts to 10, and Edge and Christian are counted out. So Rikishi squeaks the win by. I was wondering how you would get out of this, because I feel like as the tag team champions, they can't lose because they would look super weak losing to one person. But also Rikishi's this like big dude that you want to get across as imposing and threatening. So you don't want him eating a pin. So I think this was a very clever way to get out of it, and doubly clever that you have Edge and Christian attack Rikishi after and really lay the boots to him, and have Too Cool save Rikishi, now transferring that heat over to Too Cool and potentially setting up a tag team program with Edge and Christian and Too Cool.
That all works. Although I would disagree with you, I would say, and always like this, the heels can eat a pin. And even though it's a handicap, it's still tag team rules. So it's like one guy pinning one guy. And then it's always good for the heels to be like, oh, this happened. No, it didn't. They didn't, they still, I don't mind heels holding a title and then like just going through all kinds of shenanigans. And like, we still got it because we're cheating, cowardly, whatever. So, and then the same scenario could have gone on. But other than that, I'm in complete agreement with you. But I think, I think people can eat pins more than this
absolutely
clean finish smart mark thinks.
I feel like, well, in this era, it feels like a very very taboo thing to eat a pin, but we'll see.
Hence the birth of the clean finish smart mark.
Then a segment that I loved. I love this segment. Steph and Tori are backstage. They're talking about money for a soda. And I was very curious to look on that vending machine how much the soda was. I think it had to have only been $1. Now those 20-ounce cans are like $3.50 in New York. My God.
Maybe it's less than $1.
Yeah. And so they're about to get some soda, and the Dudleys try to walk past them and excuse themselves. And Stephanie does her Karen thing of like, like, how dare, who do you think you are? We're two powerful women, and it's pathetic when two men have to pick on women to feel strong and powerful. You're poor excuses for a man. And then they just turn away like so proud. And Bubba goes to like lunge for Stephanie, and D-Von goes, "Are you crazy? Do you know the repercussion of putting that girl through a table?" And I can't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, what a great way to completely turn this heel act. Like we've already seen with the Trish angle that the Dudleys are tweeners leaning on faces. But now that Stephanie is getting in their face, it's like you want to cheer. Like no, she should go through a table. Like as a viewer, you think. And it's so funny too, because if you just like take the words that Stephanie's saying and take out the way she addressed them as like a Karen, she's absolutely right. You know, like what kind of man just picks on women to feel strong about themselves? Like you're a coward. You're a piece of shit for doing this. But in the context of WWE, she's the asshole, and I love it. Right. I love it.
And not only that, she's in a position of power.
Right.
That's big. That's huge. Like,
And this really sets up the main event too, and gets them over big time. After the break, we get the Lugs boot of the week. It's in fact not a kick, but it is Trish Stratus going through the table. And again, you're showing the video footage. This is the first time on free TV we see Trish absolutely crushed through this table. Looked awesome. Great spot. We have the Hardys versus T&A. And again, any match you could see of the Hardys in this era, you're going to see something cool. Great action. Hardys look great. I saw something I've never seen before, which is Albert went for a press slam. And when he threw Jeff Hardy off, Jeff Hardy flipped out and landed on his feet. Like that was very impressive. Moments later, Albert went for a power bomb. Jeff Hardy tries to counter it into a Frankensteiner. It's not going to work this time, pal, because Albert holds on to him and power bombs him heavy. You learn that Albert has a big head. Wore an 8 3/8 helmet in college football, and I can relate. My hat size is 8 1/4. You can only buy them online. Hatland.com is where I get them for my fellow big heads.
Wow. I have a big head too, but not that big.
What's your size for the
it's hats? Like it's not 8, but it's right under 8.
Oh, so I mean you can still you could go to Lids. They don't have my size at Lids.
Well, yeah, every time I get like it's always like at the end I have the end one of the adjustables, and in glasses are always glasses. They're never, I mean, what kind of pinheads buy glasses? Oh, my goodness, I can never, you know what I mean? It's like my head's not that big, but it's always like terrible. Yeah. So, but Albert, goodness. Do you know who has the biggest head in WWEF history?
Would it be Andre or I'm guessing not?
Ooh, shit. You know what? Besides Andre.
Okay, who would it be?
Boris Zukov.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. Watch those old Boris. They always marvel that his head was incredibly big. And when you look at an old match, like, oh yeah, his head is huge.
All right. We got to do a ranking of the biggest heads in WWE history. I bet Khali is up there, and like all the giants, Giant Silva.
Yeah. Proportionally, I think Zukov is like, for how Khali was or whatever, that's probably more.
Yeah. Obviously, I agree.
Khali and that's a good ranking. How do we get those? How do we get those stats? We could just make them up.
Yeah.
You do. Big Show, 7'2", 505 pounds. What, really?
So we got a hot tag to Matt. Great fire. This is a good match. TNA regaining the advantage. Test hits a pump handle slam on Matt and is positioned kind of in the corner. Albert, he's being shooed out by the referee, and the ref is kind of distracted. So in the melee, Jeff Hardy gets on the top rope, hits a swanton onto Test, who's in the pin position, throws Matt on top of him. The Hardys get the clean win, and again, to get their heat back, T&A demolish the Hardys. Both members of T&A give their individual finishers to both members of the Hardys, leave them laying, and they look pretty strong, almost invalidating the pin. I guess the idea is the Hardys are the better team, but maybe T&A are the tougher guys.
Great.
we get an interview with Earl Hebner, and Earl is asked how he's feeling. How do you think I'm feeling? I'm a referee. I'm not a wrestler. He's like, I got a family. What am I going to do? I can't be hurt. How am I going to provide for my family? You really start to sympathize with this poor man. He's too small.
And that was like a little dig at Vince, because Vince obviously has a aversion to saying wrestler, let alone wrestler. And that was his whole thing. This isn't wrestling. And then, of course, it's like, they're superstars, and like,
right.
The bizarre aversion to that. So that was very much I'm not a wrestler. And
so that was intentional.
Was the whole, yeah. And there was the whole theme of this, like Richmond and the South and wrestling, and, and so, which is good for Vince to be like, oh, like I recognize that, and it infuriates me. So it's a good for, a good thing for them to poke at him. Then he got too strange, I think. And even, well, some things were weird. Even they weren't like decrees put out at the time, but like a couple times I remember knowing, like, feeling like, oh, Vince saying, the belt. He didn't even like saying the belts, and let alone the straps. Someone that was like, the hardest was talking, like going through a promo, and he's like, we'll win the straps back. And I remember saying, like, oh, don't say straps. Vince will, and it was kind of like, so this was 99. So this was a little new, like people not knowing, like, oh, fuck, he fucking hates that. But it wasn't put out to anyone, hey, by the way, here's a memo, or here's the production meeting. Like, don't say that. It was just starting to happen. So what was good info where they're like, oh, which is kind of weirdly unfair, where like you have a good promo and you say, like, when we're going to win the straps back. And then Vince is all like, why is Vince fucking sour? Oh, you said straps. So I don't know. Oh, now, now it's kind of like, oh, fuck. He hates that. Has to be their championships. They're not straps. They're not belts. They're championships. Okay. He's like, all right. They're not wrestlers. They're superstars. Okay. Got it.
I always thought it was a little obsessive, a little too obsessive.
Like, very much. Yeah.
It could be suggestions, but not like, especially with belt. I think belt was the most egregious. It's a belt. That's what it is.
Yeah. And also the weird thing too was like, well, say it, have a decree, have a memo. They will not be, some of that stuff.
Well, now they do. I've seen like a word file. Yeah. Now they're much more organized about it.
Yeah. And then I guess that's, I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. Yeah, all those little things drive me crazy sometimes. Like even when they would point to WrestleMania, like thing, like, okay, when WrestleMania was coming, and then they'd have the logo up there at the arena, then it became like, I'm pointing to it, like, okay, furthering and always promoting the thing. But at a certain point, it just got like a little silly, like, and I'm looking towards the the WrestleMania logo, like the sixth time, like, all right.
Now it's like, it's required when you win the Rumble, you have to get on the, second rope and point at the sign, and then the fireworks go off, and you have to stage it so the shot is there, and blah blah blah. And it's like, everything is just too rehearsed, I think.
And even that's like 10 years old doing that, or
it's 20 years old. It started at WrestleMania 20. Yeah. Very crazy. Yeah. Then we have the Big Show coming out as Shonan the Barbarian. And I want to say, when he came out as Shonan, I was like, I think this may have jumped the shark. I think this might be it. But like, it seems as though you guys felt the same way. Like maybe it was intentional, because it's like with the showster, like, okay, that's really funny. And it's not the first, it's actually the second time Real American was played. One of our readers actually pointed out to us that a year prior, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe had come out to Real American, and they made a mockery of it during like some sort of a hardcore match or something. But that was good though, because you haven't done the Hogan tribute in a while. I thought the Shokishi thing was fun. Because they do make a cool team. It's a cool visual. But then this just seems like, oh, by the way, shout out to Concrete Davidson for pointing that out about the Briscoe and Patterson.
Yeah.
And But this Shonan just seems like very random, and like he wasn't even doing an Arnold accent. He was doing like a weird Eastern European accent. But it seemed like it's run its course in the storyline as well. So I reserve all of my criticism. I thought this was, for what it was fine.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, first of all, 5 original hours of programming a week for wrestling. It's a content machine. It's like a locomotive that you got to just keep putting fucking wood in. So you're kind of like, and like a lot of things in comedy bits, or you see it in commercials where like, oh, the last beats, so to speak, or the last ideas are when they go down at all, it does start to like, oh, it's starting to smell. You know what I mean? Like, it's like leftovers in the fridge. Oh, not anymore. And
this was the first one where I felt that.
Yeah. And the bad thing about wrestling, especially in this era, is like you're always hot shotting. Why are you always hot shotting? Because geez, you got to fill this beast, these hours, you got, you know what I mean? And it's like, like Kevin Nash said it that one time, like it was like 5:30 and everyone was staring at each other like, what are we gonna do? And sometimes that's where like weird lame ideas come up with, or things turn good, or what have you. So, but the good thing is, and that's the good bad thing about Vince, sometimes it's like, it's over, you know what I mean? It's, there's not bad. Mae Young's having a hand, it's over. All right, 2 weeks later, no one remembers it. You know what I mean? And is there enough time? And look, there's so many odd things that are like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, Briscoe and Patterson did that. That's long ago. It's just the nature of the beast.
For also, I just feel like with Big Show, to your point, like he's been a face and a heel like 3 or 4 times just this year. Like he's gone back and forth. So you're really, it's different. Like every 3 months feels like a new micro era in a way, like a new moment. But right now I think you're at a strong point. Like all the characters are pretty well built up from like a month or 2 prior, where it was a little felt a little repetitive.
And we always had this thing in their back pocket with Big Show, which was like, it's a little tricky because he's so big. Sometimes it's like, oh, why isn't he just like the champion and killing people if he's this unstoppable force? So, you're always looking for those different things. But I would always suggest too that one day, and we kind of flirted with it and happened here and there, but one day, he could just be like, I'm sick of being this fool, which I would bring up, and then they would use it. You didn't want to go to that well too much, but like there was always that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm looked at like a jackass. Now I'm pissed and I'm rogue and what have you. So there you go.
Yeah, I did like that. We'll get to it. So it's Shonan the Barbarian. Tony Chimmel says, from parts unknown, weight unknown. Bet you haven't heard that in a long time. It's Shonan the Barbarian. Always liked Tony Chimmel. If he had come up in a different era and was not compared to the Fink, I think he would have gotten much more due, because he was great. He was very consistent. So he does, Big Show has some mic time, very weird Eastern European accent, not quite Russian, not quite Arnold. I will show no mercy. I am Shonan. I mean, my accent is even better. I'm sorry. And he's facing Bull Buchanan, who, poor Bull, he's kind of stuck in this character purgatory of being like this nothing boss man lackey. Hasn't had any mic time or person, like you don't know his personality at all, nor do I think we ever really get it. But he attacks Big Show with a nightstick, and immediately Big Show is pissed, and so he rips off the wig and the mustache or like whatever, and it's like he's just angry now. And this is great, like this switch flipping, and when he like gets aggressive, it's very scary. It's genuinely frightening. So I think it's great. He absolutely destroys Bull. There's not even a match. And so that's it. Backstage, Vince tells the Stooges to bring him Earl Hebner. And afterwards, Vince invites Earl Hebner to his dressing room. He hopes there's no hard feelings, wishes him good luck. He's playing like this nice guy, like, oh, I hope you don't get hurt. Oh, you're not really a wrestler, so good luck. And Earl is very frightened. Backstage, Crash Holly learns he doesn't have a match, so he's going home early. Walks by a bouncy castle. gets shoved in the bouncy castle by Dean Malenko. And they do some spots in the bouncy castle. It was incredible. I think they did like a suplex, some other stuff. Crash runs out. They fight into the arena, into the crowd, and the crowd is loving it. They get in the ring. Saturn runs down, pulls Malenko out of the ring, and then he tries to have a match with Crash, tries to pin him. Malenko and Saturn are arguing like, hey, Malenko's like, what the fuck? You know, like, this is my thing. I thought we're friends. Crash Holly hits Malenko in the back with a trash can. Malenko bumps into Saturn, causing Saturn to fall out of the ring. Crash Holly rolls up Dean Malenko. 1, 2, 3. Crash Holly retains, runs out. The Houdini of Hardcore survives another one.
Nice.
And this is basically the end of the Radicals as Saturn and Malenko argue after the match, and they brawl to the point that referees have to come down. This is good. You don't need the Radicals together anymore. Their personalities have been established. They're much more useful as their own guys.
I obviously will love the Crash Holly gimmick. I could watch it all day, every day for 24/7.
Backstage, Big Show walks up to Shane. They're, I guess, still friends, and well, not anymore. Asks Shane what he thought of all his gimmicks. The camera oddly just cuts to commercial. I think that was a mistake, because after the break, they're like, oh, hey, let's see what Shane said. And you just play the segment again, all the way through. And Shane basically talks down Big Show. I wish this was more impactful. Like, I think you guys could have done another take for two reasons. One, I don't think Shane was as vicious as he could be. He could have been even more vicious. He was saying like, oh, you're a fool, you're pathetic, you're pea-brained, you're a waste of perfectly good oxygen. None of these people would ever care about what you did because you don't deserve it. And I think the show was too over the top with his pouting. Like, it should have been more subtle, but he was just like a bait. Like, if it was more subtle, I think it would have been more powerful. That, like, you could, like, oh, that really got to him, you know?
Right.
But WWE is over the top. I understand. But
well, and also I'm just getting the post-traumatic flashback of like, yeah, you produced this shit on the fly with all this going, and then the studio guys, I think this, and not like you're wrong, totally valid, but you're just like, right, yeah, I know, but.
Yeah, we had 5 minutes
at the show, the third show on the cycle from the paper. You did that, and we're going, and then we got something next, and then later, like, yeah, in retrospect, it's almost like, and you're not wrong, but sometimes I feel like it's like, fuck, watching a football game and the guy fumbles, and like, I wouldn't have had him fumble there.
Yeah, I'm absolutely armchair quarterbacking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very easy for me to say. And I think what you're saying, that makes total, especially like, I'm not looking at it in the context of like, this is a long week. You just want to go, everyone just wants to go home.
And I'm, and it's like, and I'm just reacting to it like I'm in therapy or something, but yeah, it's not, you're not, again, you're not wrong, but it's like, there's just part of me that like, it's not right, but just it wants to react like, well, you fucking produced it that day, Todd Spani, God damn it. See what's fuck you could have got out of,
That's fair. Yeah, I would have got fired.
But I don't really mean that. It's just like, that's the thing I'm naturally suppressing, but it's just the feeling you get. Oh yeah? Well, fuck. In Richmond, in the goddamn bowels of the Richmond fucking Coliseum, fucking, when this thing's around the corner, God damn it. You go up to Big Show and say, it's not so, we do it again. When a lot of times it's just easier to go, I think we got it.
Then we get a promo with The Rock and Earl Hebner, and this is when I'm like, wait a minute, there's like 20 minutes, not including commercials left of the show. So this is probably like 9:30. You're doing this promo. And Kevin Kelly says he doesn't know how The Rock will get out of this one. And Rock basically says, give me DX and I'll roll him in a ball and shove him up your candy ass or something like that. Typical Rock promo, but delivers. The crowd loves it. And I'm hyped. And I'm definitely like, okay, how the hell is The Rock going to get out of this one? Because it's 3 members of DX versus The Rock and a non-wrestler. So it's essentially a 3-on-1 handicap match. really kind of like a 4-on-1 because he also has to worry about Earl not getting pinned.
It's worse. It's worse. It's harder. And then he's got to get pinned. 3-on-1 would have been. Yeah, it's a different handicap match than usual.
Yeah, no, this was a unique challenge for The Rock.
And also what I liked about it, even though it's weird or whatever, it's still like, it's Vince being like, it's like being a James Bond villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the sense that like, and then the laser will be on this timer, and it's not like just fucking kill him or just, I mean, you could do a bunch of stuff, but it's like, no, this is extra special because I'll fuck Earl Hebner too, and Hebner I'll cause a rift because he'll get pinned. It's all like, I like it a lot.
No, this is very good. Interestingly, Triple H is wrestling in a sling. Not sure how the doctors cleared him for that, but I guess when you're the boss's son-in-law, you get special treatment.
There you go.
And he actually does spots in the ring while wearing a sling. The Rock takes advantage, pulls the sling off, and he does one of my favorite spots when you have a match like this with a wrestler and a non-wrestler, which is the wrestler will hold the heel by the arms, restraining him, bring him to the apron, and allow the non-wrestler to get some shots in. This got huge pops when Earl Hebner like smacked around Triple H. I always pop for that. I feel like Hogan would do that with like Gene Okerlund or something.
Right.
So that was great. The crowd was really hot for this. And this was a really well laid out match. I have to say, whoever the agents are in this era are top of the line. Like I'm constantly so impressed with the like the choreography, I guess it would be, but the staging, how would it be referred to in the
working, the working of the
work?
Match.
Yes, the work rate. Yeah, no, it was great.
The finishes and I'll say this too, and really, for a lot of that goes to just, even though they didn't necessarily weren't pals, just The Rock and Triple H on top of their game, and Triple H is really like, that's where he gets a lot of his, like, I think respect is like, oh, he has great timing. He doesn't really have bad matches. And all these, like, especially these kind of shenanigans, he's a guy to rely on in that moment. Because, the agents make suggestions, this, that, and the other thing. But ultimately, why all this fucking gaga works is the timing. And that's where it can go off the rails. Like, oh, weird timing, or this is, and
great
X-Pac, all those guys, they're just like, yep, here's a 7 obstacles and a weird thing with a guy who's not out there a lot, and like, they just make it work every time. So it's like in football, it's the players, it's the performers first and foremost.
Yeah, and you're right, they're all at the top of their game right now. They throw The Rock to the outside. X-Pac and Road Dogg are trying to goad Earl Hebner to get in the ring, and Triple H comes in as well. And just as they're about to attack Earl, Rock comes back and does a comeback. It's very interesting how they do this. Shane tries to run in, gets a spine buster. At this point, the match has fallen off the rails. Jericho runs down. He attacks Triple H. Vince tries to attack Jericho. In the ring, X-Pac is about to hit The Rock with a chair. Earl low blows X-Pac. Huge pop. Rock turns around, gives X-Pac a rock bottom. 1, 2, 3. It's over. DX attack Rock and Jericho. Hebner is taken hostage. Triple H is pedigreeing The Rock. This is big heat right now. Vince and Shane throw Earl into the ring, into DX, throws him to the wolves. Earl is scared. Triple H just punches him in the face. Earl crumbles. Earl's bleeding from the mouth. This is a great, I'm guessing it's a blood capsule, but it looked great.
No. Really frowned upon Hollywood juice, but I'm not saying that
it had to be. I can't, like, the way it was gushing, I can't imagine. I don't think he, he gigged his mouth.
No, he could have just bit his fucking tongue or something.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
He's got the hardware. It's really, first of all, the blood capsule is kind of a myth. Because there's not a capsule that's like this big that can make blood. Else it just makes you like, oh, is he eating a Jolly Rancher?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know what happened here. I'll say that. And there has been, when they call it Hollywood juice, usually in a pre-tape or something. And I don't remember, and I wasn't privy to what happened really, but he wanted to blade, he probably would have bladed. And if he didn't want to blade, someone could have bladed for him. And he's been around the business that long. And I don't know what it really enhanced the match at that time, this kind of bloody mouth. So if I had to guess, and we don't know, I'd say he, and it's very easy to just bite your tongue or your lip out there, I'd imagine it came the hard way.
Okay.
If I had to guess. If we're on a game show and I had to pick, that would be my number one pick.
So, endless mugging. Rock and Jericho are down. Who will help them? Well, Rikishi runs down. We learned through the commentators that he's cousins with The Rock. First mention of that. And he gets outnumbered. Then the Big Show runs down. And it's great. This is great, foreshadowing throughout the episode. He headbutts everyone. Shane jumps on Big Show's back and tries to choke him, gets him down on a knee. The Rock is back. DX attacks The Rock. Then all of a sudden, the Dudleys run down with a table, and that's enough to clear the ring. I'm talking, all of this happened in like 2 minutes, and it was like boom, 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 boom. And obviously, you have the power of editing, but still, it looked great.
Yeah.
And just to send the fans home happy, Rikishi grabs Patterson and Briscoe, throws him in the ring, stink face to Patterson. Briscoe gets powerbombed through a table. The crowd is losing their shit.
Yeah.
EMT's like coming out for Hebner.
Marching bands next. There's
so much going on.
Yeah.
One of the darkest days in WWF history is one of the final lines as the Rock walks out with Earl Hebner. Rock is pissed. Very hot angle.
Yep. Super crowd pleaser. Fun end to a whole pay-per-view cycle. Richmond, Virginia, not that far from going back to New York. Throw the kitchen sink out there. Everyone's depleted off. Still, sometimes you don't think of this, but this is only 2 days away from Backlash in real time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that whole cycle, even though it feels like, oh, this is a week later, and it's like the progression of the story or whatever. So everyone's still like, a very successful weekend, so to speak, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I remember it fondly.
No, this was really, really well done. This is very exciting, and I'm really excited for Raw. And you had a pay-per-view in the UK this week, like the following weekend. Did you go to that Insurrextion? Yeah. Were you a part of that, or how did that work?
Was it in London, or was it in?
Yes, in London. The main event was Rock versus Triple H versus Shane.
Yeah, I did go to this one. Here's what was fun about the London trips was the fact that there was no pressure on them as far as like storyline and stuff, because just things weren't all so tied together then. Like the London pay-per-view wasn't like viewed by the American audience. And the travel was so rough to go out there and back in between all this stuff that it really was just like a house show. And if this is one I remember like doing some, because Edge and Christian were heels, and we were like taking pictures with fans out there and giving them lines saying things like, all right, everyone who's got big ears and bad teeth here. Oh God, everyone's got big ears and bad teeth. Just like anti-English humor and stuff like that. And it was, it was kind of, I'm trying to, I should remember more, but everything's so whirlwind, and you kind of go and like, there's the matches. It wasn't the same, like,
the matches look pretty straightforward. Yeah. Like it's too cool to defeat Saturn and Malenko. Kane defeated Bull Buchanan. Road Dogg defeated Bradshaw. The Cat with Mae Young defeated Terry Runnels with Moolah. So yeah, this really does feel like a house show. Rikishi and Big Show defeated the Dudleys, who are playing the heels. Angle defeated Benoit in a quick match. British Bulldog, which I'm guessing this is probably his last match in WWE, defeated Crash Holly for the hardcore title. I'm guessing Crash won it back, right? Then the Hardy Boys defeated Edge and Christian by DQ. Eddie Guerrero defeated Chris Jericho for the European title. That was the semi-main. And then The Rock defeated Triple H and Shane McMahon with Mr. McMahon in his corner for the World Championship.
from what I remember, and I don't think, I don't remember how, what, like the production meeting was like literally like you just said. Well, there it is. Go have it. So and so to be like house shows defeats. What's the finish? Yeah, whatever you want. Because they're just some, they're happy to see the performers in England. It's like not going to ruin anything. It didn't matter. Things didn't leak over. So it was like no stakes, no pressure, just abysmal travel.
And also, you only came to England like once or twice a year too. So it was like, they were hot for it.
They were hot for it, and it was like a pain in the ass to travel, like to shove it in there. That was.
So I was going to ask, did you go on the corporate jet with Vince and all them, or you flew commercial?
No, I don't think Vince went.
No, he was there. He was in Shane's corner allegedly.
Then this isn't the one I'm thinking of. When was the last one?
Rebellion would have been the other pay-per-view in December of 2000 in Sheffield.
I think we went to London and stayed there and then drove up to Sheffield because everything's so close. That's what I'm remembering. So I went to the December one. I'm mixing up in my mind because I went to London, stayed in London because I stayed a few extra days to do some things with Sky Sports. And then how far is a drive from? That was it. Sheffield to London. Yeah, I forget. It's England. Nothing's more than 5 hours.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours. Yeah.
That was it. We went to London, stayed in London, did stuff, drove to Sheffield. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was
okay, so you skipped this. So we can skip this.
I did not go to this one.
Okay, so we'll just stick to the regular sketch.
Yeah.
Not much.
That was some boring behind the scenes stuff. Tune in as I false remember things possibly. Sorry, everybody.
Well, the Edge Christian story was fun. All right, well that's fine. There's a few other rumors, but we're going a little over time, so we could talk about them on the next episode. Like first talks of Brock Lesnar and maybe Shawn Michaels coming back, but we'll discuss. And as always, we love your feedback. tftattitudeera@gmail.com is the email address. And please send us your questions. I think we're going to do a Q&A episode very soon. And so please send us questions for a new Q&A episode. We want your Q's for Tommy to give you the A.
Nice. I like how you did that.
TFT Attitude Era on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're going to get out of here, folks. We'll see you next time on Tales from the